Well, where do I even begin? Let's just point out the elephant in the room, and that is that majority of this video is recorded vertically, and I apologize for that, but I didn't think I would be uploading this on YouTube, but here we are. Next project that I make, I'll make sure to record it horizontally. Alright, so if you stick throughout the video, thank you, and I love you. Okay, so this project will be a piece specifically from my mom's fruit stand that is shaped like a triangle. Okay, I also want to add that this video has no fancy editing. I don't know what I'm doing. All I know is how to do voiceover, so this is what you get. Okay, enjoy the video. Bye. So what I'm doing here at the table saw is creating a groove for the bottom shelf, which is going to slide into the grooves. I don't know if you could pick it up on the video, but you see that little notch I took out? That's where the shelf is going to sit. And once I find the proper measurement for the groove, I just transfer all those on 3 legs. So the 3 legs that are going to receive the groove is the left and right and the front. The back piece, that's not going to be grooved out. Okay, so what I'm doing here now is once I have all the pieces cut to length, proper measurements, I come to the sander and sand everything away up to 220. So since I'm using plywood for the surface where the fruit stand is gonna sit, I usually start with 120 grit and work my way up to 220. So I do 120 and then jump to 220. So what I do when it comes to sanding is that I get a pencil and mark lines on the wood. What this allows me to see is where I haven't sanded and where I've sanded, which is a nice little tip that I learned a while back ago. And I do this with everything, with tabletops, anything I make, this, legs, everything. In the next clip you'll see that the pencil marks are on the leg too, on each side, not just one side. Every single side I do this. You can see here, it's sped up by the way, that the pencil markings are on each side of the leg, giving me a nice finish on the entire surface of the leg. Alright, so what you'll see me doing next is probably the most tedious thing I've done up to this day with any of my projects, because I'm trying to square up the side edge of the panel where the fruit stand's gonna sit. So what I'm doing is just using a scrap piece of wood and then putting a piece of sandpaper over that to smooth out the edges and make it square at the same time. There's a lot of methods on how to do this, but I just used what I have, and this is what I had. So I just took my time and made sure everything was square. And here, what I'm doing to the legs is that since I squared these up as best as I could on the table saw, I'm just adding a little chamfer. And like I said, you could do this multiple ways, but I'm just using my piece of block which is a wood, and sandpaper. I think it's 220 to break out the sharp edges so you won't get splinters. Normally you would use a block plane, but those go for like 100, and I just don't find the need to buy it right now. Maybe later down the road, but for right now, this is what I have and this is what I'll use, and it works fine. I apologize, but there's gonna be a lot of voiceover. I think I'm gonna do this, but maybe next video I'll just work on a piece of wood and not talk. But here you can see I'm just staining it, and I think this is the second coat I applied, so that's why I removed the excess amount almost immediately after applying it. Normally what I do is on the first coat I just let it sit. I don't let it dry. I let the stain sit for at least 5 minutes, 5 to 10 depending how cold it is outside, and then wipe off the excess. But then I come back with the second coat just to pop out those fibers from the wood, but this time I just wipe off immediately. Same thing here, second coat, just putting the second coat to pop out those fibers a little more, and just wiping off immediately after. Okay, so here, I think I got this trick. I can't remember who it was, but I think it was somebody. It was a woodworker on YouTube. Originally, what I did first was not put that piece of sacrificial plywood at the bottom. So what I noticed is that the bottom of the how do I even say this, the panel, it would splinter out because I would just drill straight through the material I'm using. So I remember that if I put a sacrificial
Yep.
piece of wood under, it would drill into the sacrificial wood, which wouldn't splinter the wood. And you can see there, it's perfectly fine. But before it wasn't like that. And right here, what I'm doing is that I'm clamping the legs onto the table saw. Like I said, you just gotta use what you have, and this is what I had that was stable and wouldn't move as much. So what I'm doing here is drilling the, I guess, a dowel hole for the dowel that will go in from the top of the panel into this piece of leg to secure the top, because I didn't want to use no fasteners. I'm just trying to not use fasteners anymore on my projects, just trying to make joinery, like traditional woodworking joinery. And in my opinion, the dowel it's like a beginner joinery. It's super simple. You just make a hole, you insert a dowel with some glue, and it's a pretty strong joint. And here it's sped up. I'm just inserting the top panel, and you can see originally you want to use a mallet. I just got a piece of stick, like I said. You just gotta improvise what you. But yeah, this worked. It just took a while to get the panel on top, but you can see it's nice and secured. Well, a horizontal shot. Don't get used to these. I'm joking. So what I'm doing here is that I'm clamping my piece of furniture down to my workbench, and then pre-drilling using a 1/4 drill bit, and then I'm gonna come back using a 1/2 inch drill bit. And the reason why I pre-drill first with the 1/4 inch is because if I go straight in with the 1/2 inch drill bit, I'm pretty sure I'll mess up, knowing me. So what this allows, for me at least, is that if I do this first, it's more easier for me to go straight down using the 1/2 inch drill bit, as opposed to just going straight into just drilling in with the 1/2 inch drill bit. In my opinion, it helps me. And a nice trick to not over drill is, I learned this from YouTube of course, is measure your bolt from the tip of the drill bit and mark it with tape. And what this will do is it'll give you a marking where to stop drilling. It's a super useful technique. You can see here that it's sped up, by the way. You can see the little marking on the tape. So what you want to do is just stop where the bottom of the tape hits the bottom of the leg. You'll see right now what I'm talking about. So right there, that's where you stop and you just pull out, and that gives you the perfect depth for the bolt of the, what do you want to call them, feet? But yeah, you do the same thing on each single leg. And here I'm just installing the threaded inserts to the bottom of the leg so the bolts could go into it.
So threaded inserts for the legs. Okay, nice one.
And after installing all the threaded inserts on each 4 of the legs, I go back and insert the adjustable feet for the stool. You can see right about here. Those are the feet, the adjustable feet. What these are used for is that if your floor is uneven, you could just twist these and even out the stool so it could be dead flat on the floor and not have your stool all wobbly. For whatever reason on the last bolt I had trouble, but I can't remember what I did to fix it, but I think I just switched the bolts from the other leg to this one and it worked just fine. It was weird, but at least it wasn't a big headache. And finally, after everything's assembled and glued up properly, I go back and add a 3rd coat, and this time you could see those beautiful walnut dowels on the top, and they're at the top and the bottom panel too. I think you'll see them here later down, but what I'm doing now is just staining everything. I just show you the top and bottom, but I go back and do everything. And then after staining everything, I wait for like 3 or 5 minutes, and then I wipe everything off. And then in the next clip, I'll show you when everything's wiped off. And you can see the dowels at the bottom too. The top ones, those little black dots, the walnut dowels. And then at the bottom, there's one, and that's how it's connected. There's the other one, and on the other leg too. So 3 dowels at the bottom and 4 on top. And there it is. That's the final piece. But yeah guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it's a super simple video, but I just wanted to record my progress. And here it is installed in our kitchen. Don't tell me why there's a pink wine under it. That's just my mom's idea. There's nothing I could do, but yeah. Thank you guys. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.